Well, I'll say when I was kind of, clearing my mind and meditating a little bit before I jumped on, and I instantly, and again, this is not a surprise to me, but I instantly felt Archangel Michael, and I know that you work a lot with him, so that wasn't surprising to me. But I did feel like he particularly made himself known to me because this work that you're doing today is part of your purpose. And I did get the feeling that maybe not today, but previously your work has been more scattered and more loose in different areas. And so I feel like he specifically came through and wanted us to know that this is what you should be working on.
Mm.
That
Yeah, it's just different because, like, and I'm really comfortable with that. I really enjoy working with the spirits and the dead, so to speak. But it's this whole new mind shift on because I see this as in the zone, in the flow. I like it, but it's that whole what happens to my clients and how do I transition? Like, you don't make money off this. This is spiritual service. You know what I mean? So it's that. Yeah, I get that. I get that really strongly, and I get that's why I'm being pushed in this direction. But it's kind of like, yeah, it might take my little human mind a while to fully trust myself. Like, I do trust, but it's also that a bit out there.
Yeah. And I think that, you have a very unique skill set, and you have a very unique way of piecing different things together, whereas there's a lot of teachers out there that would maybe only want to do a certain part of this work, whereas I feel like you actually get out there and you do what you're saying you're doing, you teach what you're talking about, you're connecting to these spirits firsthand, and then you're taking what you're learning, you're taking that knowledge and that information, and you're sitting with it, you're unfolding it, you're talking to your guides about it, you're asking for clarity on it, you're bringing other people in to get other people's points of view and other perspectives, and then you're putting that out there in modalities that is teachable to other people, whether it's through your podcast or through writing. And I think that that's what makes this work very unique from other spiritual teachers that do things similar.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I am trying to learn. I'm like trying to learn from the paranormal community because I have such a strong reaction negatively towards ghost hunting. But say, for example, one of the things that's happened now is I watch and this will be a really big, there's a particular one spirit that I really hope comes through. So I invited to do a paranormal podcast, and I was like, oh, pretty strong feelings on paranormal stuff. Let me listen to your podcast and then I'll agree afterwards. And I started listening to the podcast and I thought, you know what? No, my message is important. I'll go on anyway. Even if it offends every single person that listens to that podcast, I meant to go on it, right? So I started listening to an episode so I could just get a feel of the guy, and he's a lovely guy, and he had a ghost hunter on. And, I only listened to half an hour of the session only because that was all the amount of time I could allocate at that moment, not because I didn't like the episode. I was fascinated by the episode, and I went and found the person's website, and like half an hour later, the person that they were talking about, that this ghost hunter had written the whole book on, came in the room, and I'm like, you're joking, right? And I was like, that's pretty fast. And why did we allow them to come into the room? This is not a child, Harry. I thought we were just doing children that were urgent. Why is this one? And I felt like there's also some new connection now to where I see particularly known ghost hunters or whatever talking about people. It's like, as soon as I have this thought stream now, and that spirit seems to know that I have the human will to cross them over, they have the human will decision that they want to go now. The time and space collapses and they're here, which is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime angelic like I got to the point I was like, well, how come you angels just don't cross them over? And then I remembered and realized angels can't interfere with human will. So if you die and you don't want to cross over, the angels won't interfere. And if you decide not to cross over, the angels can't interfere with you wanting to cross over. They've got to connect you with a human being who's able to do that, or you've got to do it yourself. So yeah, I'm still learning in terms of who brings them to me, how they understand that suddenly I know that they are there. Like, is it going to be from now on fast as every time I read a book or see something where I know there's a location with somebody who hasn't crossed over? Is it going to be, I'm curious to know.
Yeah.
Because I've got to retrain my nervous system as well, because there's that little bit of that as well.
Yeah, I'll say I'm on the same page with you when it comes to my own personal experiences that I've had of late as well, where in the past I feel like we've always thought that spirits were contained to one area, but I also have had spirits come to me because they know that I can help them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is maybe information that has either changed, but I'm more feeling like it was just never accurate information, that we just assumed that spirits could not move around. And I think that a lot of times that's the case, but it's not because they can't. It's more so because they're not able to within the certain conditions that they are in. But I think that once they make a decision, whether that decision is, hey, I'm going to attach to this person, I'm going to attach to this object, or I want help to cross over, I think once they make that decision, they're able to do that. That's what I've been experiencing lately. So hopefully that gives you, some insight onto why they're coming through. I don't feel like there's a portal or anything like that around you. I do feel like they're drawn to you specifically because you have the intention to cross over spirits. Now, if they're coming in too much, if they're coming in at times that, you're uncomfortable with, you would need to reestablish those boundaries and ask your spirit team to come in and set those parameters for you.
Yeah, and that's what I do. It's like only when I'm at home during the day. If any guests are here, no, hard no. Weekends, hard no. Weekdays. It was just like this morning at 5 a.m. I went outside and whoosh, it's like, and you can hear them say, boundary down.
Yep. Yep. And sometimes the spirits will still push our boundaries, especially if it's a spirit that's desperate, a spirit that is still really needing help. But you should just reaffirm those and say, no, not right now. You can come back to me during these set times. And I've actually had to do that lately as well. I had a friend of mine who came into the shop and said that there was a spirit that had passed away behind her house. He kept coming in, kept coming in, kept coming in. Help me, help me, help me, help me. And she's like, I don't know how to help you. I don't know what to do. And so I told her, I said, I will fill in and you let him know that I will help him and I will reach out and fill in. And sure enough, within a couple of days, he came to me and I was able to connect to him from my house. I never had to go to her house or anything like that, which I wasn't sure if I would have to. I went ahead and told her I would if I needed to. But I was able to cross him over from my home.
Yeah, I understand it as remote viewing where, you're seeing them in that location where they are. And I have done that before, with the diggers in France. Remote viewed the cemetery in France and they crossed over, but it was just usually only client-based, session-based spirits would come in. But now it's like I'm not even remote viewing. They're just coming here from wherever, anytime, any location around the world. Yeah, so it's just this huge change in the activity.
And I feel like that, like I said, I feel like that has a lot to do with your intention and your ability to help these spirits. And it's like when they make that same intention and they have that same ability to where they're needing your help and they're wanting your help, and then their spirit can energetically meet with yours. And there's
Mm,
not
mm,
any extra steps that's needed
mm.
because the intentions match.